Today we're playing with some of the best Magic cards of all time. We're going to draw a load of cards, we're going to get some turn 1 kills, and we even have some salt at the end of the video to top it off. We are playing Paradoxical Outcome today, but it's with a new 2-card combo. This is with Coveted Jewel and Phyrexian Metamorph. We're going to use the fast mana in our deck to ramp out Coveted Jewel or cheese it into play with Tinker. We draw 3 cards, gain 3 mana. Phyrexian Metamorph is 3 mana, so we'll play that, copy the Coveted Jewel, draw another 3 cards, have another 3 mana, and we're going to churn through our deck until we can get a ton of mana, cast Paradoxical Outcome, bounce everything, draw a billion cards, and kill the opponent with Karn or Cyberdrive Awakener. Did you know that this deck would cost you $92,374 to play on paper? Well, with today's sponsor 3-for-1 Trading, you can buy it. 3-for-1 is the best place in Europe to buy high-end Magic the Gathering cards. With my promo code 3-for-1Harry, you can get 5% off all orders over €341 with free shipping if you buy before this Monday. It isn't just limited to their huge selection of high-end cards, you can also buy sealed product with my code. If these products aren't for you, you can also check out their card market store, which has over 914,000 singles. So if you want to support the channel, check out their website or their card market page in the description or pinned in the comments, and don't forget to use my code. You have till September the 18th. To start off this video, we're on the play with a sick hand. Now most people want a Time Walk here, but I need to have Force of Will up. This is vintage, they can kill us. So instead of playing Time Walk, I'm going to play my Mox, play my Tolarian Academy, Grim Monolith, and set up for a Karn next turn with Force of Will backup. Now I thought we were playing vintage, but our opponent untaps and dashes Ragavan. It gets in, gets a treasure, and exiles a Grim Monolith, which I don't really care about. Here, it's an obvious line. We have Karn the Great Creator plus Force of Will backup. The opponent has the Force of Will, but we have the Force of Will backup. Karn the Great Creator resolves, and now they have 2 artifacts on the battlefield that they can't use. I am afraid of something like Lightning Bolt, as they do have red mana, so I'm just going to plus on the Mox, destroy it, and pass back. The opponent has had enough, they concede. There's definitely a reason why Karn the Great Creator is restricted. As they're playing Lurrus, I want to bring in the 3 Dismembers for their monkeys and other creatures, and I want to take out the slow clunky cards in Moon Silver Key and Metamorph. Going into game 2, we have to mulligan a no blue source opening hand and keep an okay but slow 6. This hand is really leaning on Urza's Saga, as we're most likely going to have to use the Force of Will, and we just have a load of mana that kind of does nothing. Our opponent has a turn 1 Merchant Scroll to get Ancestral Recall, and we top deck a Mox Opal. This lets me play all of my artifacts and cast Time Walk so that we can get this Urza's Saga ticking up again, but the opponent has the Force of Will. We now have to pass back with essentially nothing. The opponent leads the turn with Ancestral Recall, targeting themselves to draw 3 cards. They then proceed with a Ponder, into a Black Lotus, into a Wasteland, and now we need to top deck. Yikes. Okay, we gotta hold up Force of Will with the Lotus and say go. The opponent has Expressive Iteration into Dash Ragavan, and they hit a Mox off the top of my own deck. That's disgusting and something I didn't realize even playing against it in Modern. Yuck. We draw another blank, so gotta pass back, and this time I'm gonna Force of Will the Ragavan. Maybe I should have done it the first time round, but they just have so many cards in hand. We use the Force, they have Force of Negation, Ragavan gets in. We top deck a Dismember, which is an answer for Ragavan, so I guess we gotta cast it. They have a Force of Will, they get in, and they hit a Coveted Jewel, the key card in our deck. They cast it, draw 3 cards, which is pretty amazing, so I guess we gotta use our Phyrexian Metamorph. In response, they have a Dig Through Time, probably gonna find a counter. It resolves. We could potentially combo here and win the game. We copy their Coveted Jewel, and we draw another Phyrexian Metamorph. This means we can play this one, copy our own Coveted Jewel, and we have a ton of mana to keep drawing cards. And we whiffed. I'm gonna concede, on to game 3. To start game 3, on the play, we have the Mega Nuts. We've got a turn 1 Karn the Great Creator with Force of Will backup. What more could you ask for? We lead with Ancient Tune, Mana Vault, cast the Karn, and they have Force of Negation, so we need to Force of Will back. And they have another Force of Will. This is not great for us as we're just left with mana, but we can still rip something off the top of the deck. The opponent has a Mox and a Misty Rainforest and 2 cards left in hand. We take 1 damage from Mana Vault on our upkeep, and we top deck Paradoxical Outcome. I'm just gonna go for it here. If they have the counterspell, they got me. That means that they would have 3 counters in their opening hand. Do they have it? Ooh, they don't! This means that they also won't have a counterspell for this Ancestral Recall. Let's cast it and try and go off. Okay, we do get some interaction and some mana, so let's pass back and try to Coveted Jewel combo them next turn and hope they have nothing. They pass back, we untap, draw a Soul Ring, let's start going off. What I'm doing here is getting as much mana on the table as possible with Tolarian Academy. This will ramp us even more. We then get the Coveted Jewel down, draw a Phyrexian Metamorph, and while we're still about to combo, the opponent concedes, so let's move on to the next round. It's Vintage, we're on the play, and we keep a sick opening 7. Double Workshop and Coveted Jewel is already amazing. We've got double Phyrexian Metamorph, so if we have to Force of Will, we still have one behind and can Coveted Jewel turn 2 and copy it. This hand is nuts. Let's see what they have. The opponent casts a load of Moxen and a magic card I have never seen before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Lindell's Vault? Essentially, this card lets you pay life to look at the top 5 and put them back in any order, and you can pay 1 life to put them on the bottom if you want to see a fresh 5. The opponent ends up paying 4 life to stack 5 cards on top of their library and cast a Hope of Gearper. This leads me to believe that they are on Storm, and we can untap and cast Coveted Jewel. We draw 3 cards, don't have to worry about them having counterspell, and we can now use our Phyrexian Metamorphs to draw a ton of cards. Let's do this. Things are going super smoothly until I have a Demonic Tutor and can cast it. I end up casting the Demonic Tutor and finding a Karn the Great Creator. Now, as I'm doing this, I want to point out a key thing that is a massive problem. Coveted Jewel has some extra text. If a creature an opponent controls attacks me and it isn't blocked, they gain control of it and draw 3 cards. Well, they've got a Hope of Gearper in play. Yeah, let's just hope that I get a blocker with Karn. Yeah, we're about to let them untap and draw, 10 cards? Doesn't seem too bad, especially in Vintage, right? Yeah, no, we lose this game. The opponent ends up having Tolarian Academy and can use all the mana to cantrip, Tinker, we have the Force of Will, but then they have a Yawgmoth's Will that can get it back. They cast a load of spells, and they do have Tendrils in their deck, so they have a way to kill us with Storm, especially after this Time Walk, blah blah blah. They do loads of stuff, get Bolas's Citadel. Yeah, I messed up really badly. This was a guaranteed win. All I had to do was kill the Hope of Gearper. They had no cards in hand, but instead I punted. My bad, new to the format. As their combo, we just want Force of Negations in, get the Slow Antiquities War out, and ship it back. Well, this is Vintage. We're playing against a deck without Force of Will. We have the Mega Nuts. Let's just turn 1 kill them. What we're doing here is using Paradoxical Outcome to play all of our 0 drops, bounce them to our hand. We draw into Coveted Jewel. We use all the mana from Coveted Jewels to get more Coveted Jewels down. Then we get Karn the Great Creator on the table, use the Karn, get Mycosynth Lattice, and that locks them out of the game. On to Game 3. We have a terrible start to Game 3 as we have to mulligan to 4. Yes, 4. With our 4, I decide to lean on Karn, Lotus, and Trinisphere as high upsides, as if we do draw land, we have a great start, but the opponent leads with a duress. Karn is discarded, they play 2 Moxen and a Hope of Gearper, and we draw a Cyberdrive Awakener. I'm gonna cast the spells in my hand, so let's get this Trinisphere on the table. The opponent attacks for 1 and plays a 3-mana Mox Opal in a land, and we draw a Paradoxical Outcome. Let's get the Cyberdrive Awakener on the table, as it's a big 4/4 flyer. Now it does animate the Trinisphere, but I'm not going to attack. This is because the specific wording of Trinisphere is that it's only activated when it's untapped. Now the opponent makes a massive mistake by attacking into my Cyberdrive Awakener. I think they forgot it has flying. They play another Mox and we draw a Phyrexian Metamorph, but for some reason I can't cast it for 3 mana. Now I may be wrong, but Phyrexian mana is 4, so if I pay 2 life and 3 colorless mana to cast it, it should follow the rules of Trinisphere. But for some reason Magic Online didn't like that and it kept asking me to pay 1 after I paid these costs. Really confused, let me know in the comment section down below if I'm wrong, but I feel like I should be able to cast the Metamorph here. Anyways, the beatdown plan begins. Our opponent doesn't really do anything, we draw Nurse's Saga, get the Phyrexian Metamorph down, keep bashing, and they cast a Grief and lose the game. This Trinisphere definitely carried us, and it's sick to win on a mulligan to 4. Going into the next round, we keep a risky hand on the draw that can easily be bailed out by fast mana. The opponent leads with Workshop and Crucible of Worlds, implying that they're on the Workshop's artifact deck. I decide not to Force of Will and untap. We top deck a Paradoxical Outcome, I shotgun the Seagate Restoration, and cast Ancestral Recall. We draw some fast mana, so I play them and say go so that I don't go to discard. We're hoping for no Wasteland, and they have a Karn, we have a Force, they have a Phyrexian Revoker, we have another Force. Now we're untapping with our combo. But we don't find any artifact off the top to be able to cast it, so now we can only play our Saga and pass back. The opponent has a Ghost Quarter and we have no basics in our deck, and they have a Golos. This is not good for us, we need to combo ASAP. They get an Urza Saga with the Golos, strip mine us because we don't have a basic, and we draw Mishra's Workshop. We can cast our combo. Cast Coveted Jewel, cast Phyrexian Revoker, copy Coveted Jewel, keep drawing cards, Paradoxical Outcome, bounce our whole deck, keep casting it, loads of mana, Karn the Great Creator, cast our Time Walk, plus on their thing, keep going. This deck is nuts. Never in my time on Magic Online have I had 21 cards in my hand going to discard. It was actually annoying trying to discard all the cards, but now we can just Karn the Great Creator, minus for Mycosynth Lattice, cast Phyrexian Metamorph, copy the Golos, have a blocker, and they lose. That was sick. Sideboarding, all slow cards out, Hercules Recall, and the fast Blightsteel in. As they don't have Force of Will, we're literally just looking to combo them as fast as possible as they play a lot of Disruption. To sum up Game 2, they have a turn 1 Null Rod and we lose the game. It's that quick, on to Game 3. Well, they had a turn 1 kill Game 2. This is the actual Mega Nuts Game 3. We can turn 1 Coveted Jewel, use Phyrexian Metamorph, and if we draw a load of extra mana, we can then cast Karn on turn 1. Let's go. So we cast a load of Coveted Jewels, draw a ton of cards, get Karn the Great Creator down on the table after using Paradoxical Outcome to draw a billion cards, and we also find a Tinker, which gets us a Blightsteel Colossus, which threatens lethal for next turn. Not only that, but after discarding to hand size, we have triple Force of Will. So there is no sequence of cards that the opponents can have to actually win this game. But I think the opponent had a different thought in mind. They decided to rope me for 5 minutes because they were so salty that apparently I was so quote-unquote lucky. This is vintage. Isn't this bound to happen? I don't know. My opponent was very salty, roped me, put some stuff in the chat. You can see it, festering it. But to finish off the salt, the opponent said goodbye. So while we're saying goodbye, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out 3for1 Trading for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much for making this far. Use 3for1 Harry at checkout on the 3for1 website, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.